If you talk to most people about what makes a good rabbi, they will almost unanimously agree that a good rabbi is one who only cares about the truth and pulls no punches when he teaches the Torah. But 9 times out of 10, when it comes to the crunch, when they actually listen to one who cares nothing for political correctness and wounding the fragile ego of the current lowly generation, they start squirming and writhing about and ultimately complain about the very thing that they profess to admire. Arguably, one of the most controversial and challenging public speakers is the subject of our first installment. In the midst of a sea of cuddly Care Bear, itchy ear-tickling rabbis who, if their brains were dynamite, wouldn't collectively have enough to knock a thimble off a forehead, comes this juggernaut who teaches with such authority and ability to recall, weaving intriguing stories and touching on subjects where most rabbis fear to go, that any lecture from him will have you feeling like you have been cleansed by fire. Join me as we look at Rabbi Yosef Mizrachi. Rabbi Mizrachi was born in 1968 in Jaffa, Eretz Israel, and he grew up secular, going to a public school, and at the age of 18 he enrolled in the Israeli army until he was 21. Times were tough economically in Israel at the time, so his father arranged for him to go to America through a friend to find employment. He went to live in Great Neck on Long Island in 1989, and his English was not so good at the time, and his first job was working in a bagel store for $5 an hour. His employer noticed that he was not using the cash register and calculated everything in his head, only using a red button to open the cash register to give change. Suspecting him of theft, his employer questioned him, and he was surprised to see that he was able to calculate the exact change quicker than a calculator. After a short while, he got promoted to $7 an hour learning to bake and prepare the bagels, but a sudden car accident rendered him unable to walk for a few weeks, and when he returned to work, they had filled the position with someone else. He started looking for a new job at another bagel store, and it wasn't going anywhere. His finances dwindled to just $20, and after trying 52 stores, he saw an ad for a job at $1,500 per week in Manhattan. He rang the number, and he was asked to come to Manhattan for an interview. On his way to the interview for the job, he still didn't really know what he would be asked to do, and he stopped at a store that was selling an entire set of Zohar. There was a lady at the stand who prompted him to buy the whole set for $350. Despite having $4 left to his name after paying for the travel, she insisted that he can pay in installments and the book would be delivered to his home. He said, "But I don't have a job," to which the lady assured him that he will get a job and that he should have trust in Hashem. He was hesitant but curious about the woman's strong faith. He gave her the last few dollars that he had. When he arrived, he saw about 50 Americans waiting around in fancy clothes and briefcases. Among them, he saw a distinct Hussid, a Satmar Jew, and sat next to him. When he started talking to him in Hebrew, asking about the nature of the job, the Jew became very uncomfortable in speaking in his native tongue. Eventually, he was called in, and the interviewer asked him if he came to deliver a pizza, seeing that he was dressed in a t-shirt and jeans. They realized that he'd come for the job, and they started laughing, telling him that the job was for a sales representative for a business bank in the business district of New York. They asked him where he went to college, and he said he never went to college, and they all started laughing, telling him the job wasn't for him. At that point, with his back to the wall, he slammed his hand down on the desk and he said, "Listen to me, whatever I have done in my life, you would never do in your life." "What do you mean?" said one of the interviewers. "I served in the Israeli IDF and I signed off on 8 contracts a day to allow F-16s worth $400 million each to be eligible to fly. Without my signature, no F-16 could even take off." The interviewer was shocked, and having much respect for the IDF, his demeanor changed instantly. "Okay," he said, "I will help you out. Come back at 9 a.m. for a course and we will see how you go. The following day, when the young Mizrachi arrived, he noticed that the Hasidic Jew that he met in the waiting room was also there, and he helped him with his English during the course. Without a fellow Jew there translating for him, he wouldn't have understood much of the course's content. And at one point in the course, Yosef asked a question that impressed the Italian lecturer so much that he was immediately recommended for the job. Once he started, in the first week, he signed up 4 customers, which had never occurred before, prompting a request for him to meet with the head CEO of the bank. When he arrived at his office, he found out that the head of the company was also Jewish. After his first 3 weeks of work, HR contacted him because he never gave his social security number. He didn't have one, and they said they couldn't pay him. At that moment, the CEO showed up asking what's the problem, and the manager eventually arranged for the paychecks to be made out in his name, allowing Yosef to cash out the checks. At the age of 25, he went back to Eretz Israel and married, also connecting with his cousin there, who was very religious, and after a 1.5-hour conversation, turned his whole outlook on life right around. His cousin spoke straight to the point, telling him that a Jew that doesn't keep Shabbat is worse than Yasser Arafat. This shocked him, but got him thinking. In 1997, he began learning and teaching Torah at the Or Yisrael Yeshiva in Monsey, New York, the latter producing Kiruv, that is Orthodox Judaism outreach videos that began appearing online in 2004. Rabbi Yosef Mizrachi literally revolutionized the use of social media for Orthodox Jewish outreach, aimed specifically at non-religious audiences. And over the years, Mizrachi's efforts have been endorsed by leading rabbis such as Shlomo Amar, Reuven Elbaz, and Yitzhak Yosef, who estimated that the number of people that Mizrachi influenced to return to Judaism to be in the tens of thousands. Now, a lot of people love this guy, and a lot of people hate him. Why do people hate him? Well, he simply sticks to what the Torah says. But what does that look like? Rabbi Mizrachi has boldly said that the Holocaust happened due to Jewish assimilation, principally into marriage and general misconduct by the majority of the Jewish world at the time, which is not only true, but also the cause of all other catastrophes that have impacted Jews throughout history. Read through Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68 and make your way through all 72 curses, which are prophesied to come upon Israel for disobedience. The implementation of strife by the divine hand is used frequently to preserve Israel's attachment to Hashem. In Isaiah 5:25 we can really see this. The anger of Hashem burns against his own people. His hand is raised against them to strike them down. And a little bit further along in Isaiah 10:5 we have a reference to the nation of Assyria being used as a rod against his people. Woe to Assyria, the rod of my anger, in whose hand is the club of my wrath. Going back to the time of Israel's sojourn in Mitzrayim in Egypt, Israel prospered beyond belief, and this prosperity led to some Jews to assimilate by moving their businesses beyond the borders of Goshen, rivaling the economy of their host nation. Now, in response, Hashem imbued the Egyptians with a default disdain for his people. In Psalm 105:25 we read, Hashem turned the hearts of the Egyptians to hate his people, to deal cunningly with his servants. According to Rabbi Yisakar Shlomo Taktal, author of Ein Banim Smicha, Hashem personally orchestrated all communal afflictions against Israel throughout history. In chapter 1, section 4, we read the header, the sole purpose of our affliction is to arouse us to return to the Holy Land. And in chapter 3, there is a section entitled, Today's hardships are God's way of telling his people to return to our land. He writes further, Now, however, the Gentiles have taken away our very right to live. They have deprived us of all means of sustenance. They have broken our staff of bread. Therefore, it is clear that the Holy One, blessed be he, has removed this promise of exile. It is as if he is telling us explicitly, My children, I do not want you to remain in the lands of exile anymore. Therefore, I will no longer protect your stay in the diaspora. Rise up, go to your mother's bosom, and return to the land of your forefathers. End of quote. Because of a general lack in reminding Israel of these truths by many modern day rabbis, any rabbis that mention these things are usually viciously vilified. Fortunately, Rabbi Mizrachi's detractors have not so far managed to cause this public speaker with over 29 years of experience in the Kiruv field to walk away. If anything, they have made him more aggressive in his mission, producing countless videos on countless subjects. He is extremely active, putting out teachings weekly, sometimes 2 or 3, and they usually average over 3 hours. He lectures in English and in Hebrew, and he has his own app entitled Rabbi Mizrachi, produced by Bezrat Hashem Incorporated. In addition to this, he has many high production level movies on critical topics. He engages in debates from time to time and is not afraid to attack the Israeli leftist government, even weathering lawsuits and media attacks that do not seem to faze him at all. Rabbi Mizrachi has also been criticized for his comments regarding the publication and exhibition of Holocaust photos of naked female captives and prisoners or those awaiting execution, saying that if the images depicted a relative, such as a person's own grandmother, shames them and the memory of their relatives and continues to strip these victims year after year of their dignity as millions of people file past these dreadful images in a museum, which incidentally is 100% true. At the very least, they could blur some of the image. I went to a Shoah museum in Israel and saw these images firsthand back in 2008. His other comment regarding less than 1 million Jews dying in the Holocaust as opposed to 6 million was in regard to actual biblical and halakhically accepted Jews, not any type of Jew, whether secular or part secular and part religious, or those who have intermarried. Remember, it is not DNA alone that makes a person Jewish in the eyes of Hashem. Yes, if a person is biologically a Jew, he is commanded to act like one, but if he doesn't, he is not technically a Jew. This is just a fact. Don't get mad, don't leave a rude comment, do your own research. It is also important to mention that despite the Nuremberg laws prohibiting non-Jews to marry Jews, this law came in the wake of the Holocaust and caused many existing intermarried couples to have their marriages dissolved. This subject is understandably a difficult one because it calls into question whether certain Jews were really considered Jews, and it adds to the pain of any survivors to hear this. So in an act of great self-effacement, rather than trying to explain himself, Rabbi Mizrachi showed great humility by publicly apologizing to a Holocaust survivor for making this supposed error. Here is the video.
Yeshiva World.
Dr. Katz, I came here all the way to your house today to tell you that I deeply, deeply regret what I said 4 years ago in that lecture. Obviously, I had the wrong numbers, the wrong statistic. It came to my attention that it was a horrible mistake. And I want you to know that never in a million years I had any intention, chas v'shalom, to offend Holocaust survivors or people that died in the Holocaust and suffered so much. It definitely never was my intention, chas v'shalom. And I hope you will accept my apology. And it's really breaking my heart that it came to such a situation that I upset you and I upset your friends, the survivors, which is our friends, we should give our life for them. And I want you also to know that for many, many years I spoke many, many things, stories of heroes from the Holocaust, and how, the nisyonot that they had and all the things that they went through. So I really, really want you with 100% from your heart to accept my apology and to know that chas v'shalom, I never had any malicious intention. The opposite, I'm trying to do good, and I hope that we'll be able, Bezrat Hashem, before Mashiach comes, to prevent what we have today, which is the silent Holocaust. We lose our nation to other nations, and because, we're disappearing, chas v'shalom. So this is really my word. I hope I will be able to succeed with that, and I hope you accept everything that I say here, because I really say dvarim hayotzim min halev.
Okay. Rabbi Mizrachi, I first of all thank you for coming, and I thank you for being so gracious and accept my invitation immediately, without any time, without any thought. For that alone, I appreciate it. And now, since you are here, and you told me, apologizing that how bad you feel about what happened, and things were all out of control because you got the bad information, and I accept the apology with all my heart, and I hope that we could work together, do together. If you ever want me to appear with you in the public, I'm ready to go. I don't charge. My fees are nothing.
I also don't charge, so it's
Okay,
big.
so we do it together, and I'm ready anytime, and I appreciate your friendship, and may Hashem help that we should see the Jewish people arise from all the trouble, and Mashiach should come b'mheira b'yameinu amen. And I'm going to give you a bracha. May God help.
If you strip back the main reason for people's criticism of this rabbi, it comes down to two things. He speaks the truth from the Torah, and he isn't afraid to say words of rebuke. We have too few rabbis in the world at this time with this man's Torah-fixated attitude. He is a literal powerhouse combination, top-level ability to recall, top-level ability to speak, often in English, which isn't his first language, top-level ability in debating. He lectures all year round, taking only a few breaks on high holidays, doesn't charge for his lectures, and addresses current events through the lens of the Torah alone. Rarely, and I mean rarely, voices his own opinion and fiercely pushes back on the progressive leftist ideology. This is the reality. Think about this. If you have a problem with this man, you have a problem with a host of the greatest sages who ever lived. You have a problem with Rashi, you have a problem with the Ramban, you have a problem with the Kovetz Chaim, you have a problem with the Vilna Gaon, you have a problem with Rabbi Akiva, to name a few, and on top of this, you have a problem with Moshe Rabbeinu himself. You have a problem with the Baba Sali, you have a problem with Rabbi Victor Miller. In short, you have a problem with nearly anyone who is anyone in the Torah world, and dare I say, you ultimately have a problem with Hashem. If, on the other hand, you are not familiar with this rabbi at all, which I find hard to believe, turn this video off now and click the links below and start your journey. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.